What's up, guys? It's DMV Universe, and yeah, ignore this. I went to my graduation, and my sisters kind of just said, "All right, we're gonna go to the graduation, but we're gonna cut your hair." So you're gonna see this, but since only like at max 150 people are gonna watch this video, anyways, I don't have to explain that much. Just know that happened. And to everyone who is planning on sticking around and watching these, I humbly have to thank you. Because when it comes to talking about my original stuff that I've been trying to work on ever since I was 6 to 7 years old, I get really passionate about it. And I'm really happy I'm able to talk about this to you guys here. And again, even if there's like a small possibility that someone will be interested in reading the story from me explaining some of these things, I'm going to do it. And again, YouTube, I have to say it, like, YouTube right now is absolutely zero attention of revenue for me. Ever since, like, I think maybe a few months ago, my revenue has been going straight down to the point where I'm not even making barely $1 on any of my videos, despite it being popular. Like, Has Been Hotel, even though it like Has Been Hotel and all that sort of stuff, those have gotten really decent views, and very much so. They're a very popular medium, but I barely got even $1 off of it, and I'm not getting anything. So literally right now, YouTube is simply a dying hobby for me, considering that now I'm at my career job. I'm doing things that I love. So when it comes to sitting down and doing reactions, it used to be fun in the past, but now it's like I'm the only thing I'm gaining is comments telling me I'm stupid for missing something, and good comments from you guys to tell me that I'm entertaining. So as much as I love those comments, but from you guys saying I'm entertaining, it's just like I'm not making any money, and I also should be using this time to work on the stuff at my job. So when it comes to the weekends, I think of just doing this is just fine. And also, I don't have to worry about copyright claims, copyright strikes. Every day so far, I have been getting notifications on my Gmail account saying, "Oh, by the way, a copyright claim was claimed on this particular video that you made 3 years ago. Hope you have fun with that. Oh, by the way, this one too, that one too. Oh, remember when you did that Let's Play a thing with the of Kingdom Hearts 2? Yeah, we're just now gonna like take the like." All those copyright is struck. It's like that music there, that music there. Sooner or later, we're gonna get Kingdom Hearts 3. We remember you. We're just gonna wait a little bit because that's apparently how this works. So since I'm kind of pissed off at seeing that nowadays, I'm done with YouTube. I'm done trying to appease it. I'm done trying to make counterclaims, counter-notification. I'm especially tired after the TV Universe movie debacle, where I had it up for a long time. They took it down. I appealed it. They accepted the appeal, and then they said, "Screw you, we're taking it back, and then we're actually going to hit you with a copyright strike." That was the final straw. Not doing it anymore. I'm sorry. I really appreciate every single one of you, but I'm done. And plus, I do not want to lose all these videos again. One copyright strike already makes me scared that 2 or 3 can just show up at any moment. That scares me. So we're just going to play it safe. I'm going to be doing these videos, and that's the intro for this time. Happy that you guys are here. The time cards of every page is in the description. Have fun, hopefully. And yeah, of course, use these only as a podcast. Do not listen to this on your own time. Sit there doing nothing else. Only as a podcast if you're doing something else. Please. I don't want to waste your time. All right. So page number 1, we're going to start out with page 11. Now, we're going to start getting into the meat of basically character introductions, how I want to introduce these characters, and the main way I want you to see how these characters are going to develop if you want to come up with a way of what their character arc might be. And I wanted to go the route of the best way to make villain characters or characters in general is to have a specific trait that people can latch onto, that they'll understand what this character is about simply through their introduction. And immediately you get 2 characters in here that I just wanted to just slide in. These are the characters. This is how they're going to be. Lucifer. He is known as the head honcho of all of hell. So I need to make him look like he is the most powerful person in the room, along with being sophisticated. Because Lucifer is not Satan. He's not devil. He's not this. He is Lucifer. He's the guy who just betrayed God himself and was cast down into hell. So, in my mind, he has to be at least somewhat in his own right mind to want to believe that he is right to do what he did. So I put him in a traditional, I guess you call it a toga. I don't know what the actual like type of wear that you would call that, but you know, part of your chest hang out type of clothing that like regal people usually tend to wear. And again, the chains are still ever present, and they even phase through objects. I'm trying to showcase that no matter what he does, he's going through walls, going through this, he's sitting on a chair, the chains will just phase through the chair. The chains are still on his back. So there we go there. And the other next character you're going to see is our titular main character. His name is Judas. Judas has that name for reasons I'm going to explain later, maybe. It coincides with another name we're going to get to, another character's name we're going to get into. So I'm going to save Judas's name with that character's name when we get into that. But Judas, I wanted to introduce him right off the bat to be, he's the kid of Kuthala, the guy you saw in the previous page. He's the kid of that guy. He looks almost exactly like him, ears and all, even when it comes to ears and all. And Lucifer is saying we should use small words. He's here. He's gonna be a lord to be. So let's take things in a more childlike route so he can understand. And immediately he's like, "You don't have to fucking do that. I don't even care to begin with. Just go. Just do your thing. Use as many big words as you want." Automatically showing that even though he's a kid, he's pretty much an adult in his own right, using his own language and talking back to Lucifer himself. Already showing his bravery just right off the bat right there. And then page 12. Now introduction go underway. After what I said of how I want to introduce characters, you need to know what these characters are about through both their design, their personality, and how they talk. And already you have Adif Gaia. Call him Adi if you don't want to say that name. Adif Gaia, Lord of Gluttony. Of course, when you think Lord of Gluttony, you think of fat dude right there. And I also wanted to do something that I hope some people tend to notice about certain characters. Every single lord has something about them that's off, and I'm gonna point them out for you. And I do that for a purpose, because each and every one of these characters have a story behind them, and each and every one of these stories has something to do with their design in general. So out of Gaia, if you notice his teeth, they're really they're rounded, and there's not as many teeth as you and I have. On first glance, you can say, hey, this is just a big fat dude. His teeth are just kind of weird like that, and plus he's a demon. Of course, it could be weird. Or he lost a few teeth doing something, and since he's an eater, maybe he ate something he wasn't supposed to. Then you get down to Lilithmon, and this is an actual titular name in Christian mythology of like a female Satan creature. And Lilithmon, her personality, and she is a lord of envy, and her personality tends to just be, she's rash, she's typical, she's straight to the point, but she will always undermine herself in some way, shape, or form. And that's counting a balance that I'm doing my best with. That I'm trying to show that she's nice, but she's not. But she's nice in a bad way. If you know, it's hard to explain. When we get to more scenes with her, then I'll explain it better. But right now, all you know is she. The only reason why she's here is because she wants to be here because of another person, not because she wants to be here in her own fruition. Then you have Maimon, another well-known name in folklore and mythology of the Christian faith. Maimon, Lord of Greed. The main thing you can see about him is that his jaw and face are kind of disjointed and weird. It's because his jaw is just nothing but like hard bone, and the rest of his face is skin. Now, I will say his design will change a little bit, and I'll tell you why his design changes like that. Also, I'll get to something else when it comes to like design changes, but main thing about Maimon you need to know about him is that he's Lord of Greed. Everything about him is all about gambling. It is all about gambling, money, and anything along the lines. Whatever he does, if he does something in particular, it's because he knows he can either profit from it, either in an actual literal money sense, or getting something in general, personal wise, or whatever. Then you have Glaron. Okay, Glaron, I will not lie. All right. During this time period, when I'm redoing this story, like these characters have already been mapped out since I was like 8 or maybe 9, and they've been slowly evolving. But Glaron and soon Maimon have gotten a drastic change from a story I've been reading called Homestuck. It was back, I think, when I was just getting into high school, when I started reading Homestuck, and it was like this weird bet thing. It's like stuff like that. I think I explained it beforehand. But after I got done reading Homestuck, I kind of got infatuated with certain of the troll characters and some of the characters in general. So when I mentioned Maymon's gonna get like an upgrade in his in buffness, because I loved Lord English and how he was just this imposing figure, and that's where inspiration was. Glaron is basically just Karkat, like literally. But it fits mainly because he is the Lord of Anger, and I wanted to show his quirk, you could say, is he's always yelling like Karkat. He's always angry. That's his secret. He's always angry. And as you can see on his design, he has a broken horn. That is important. So from it comes to these 4 characters so far. These 4 characters, you have gluttony, envy, greed, and anger, all expressing in their personal way, whether it be design wise with Adif Gaia, just him just being fat, to be straightforward, or when it comes to the dialogue with Glaron constantly yelling, Maimon saying, mentioning that this thing that he has, he hasn't shared it, so it's pretty greedy for him to just keep it like that and not share it with the rest of them. And it's ironic for him to say something like that. And Envy, despite being straightforward and to the point of not wanting to be here, she opts to let him know that the only reason why she's here is because she hates herself. So, yes, that's the first 4. Then we get on to the rest in the next page. Then we get Plublunia, Plublu for short, Lord of Lust. When it comes to the most generic ways you can make certain characters in Hell, this is probably far the most straightforward. Okay, 1, she has big tits. 2, she's a succubus. 3, she constantly spouts out sexual innuendos any chance she gets. Boom, you got yourself a titular Lord of Lust character. Congratulations, John. You are officially a fantastic writer with great character. But the only thing I have to say about that is, I do my best to not make her a generic succubus Lord of Lust demon. In fact, she's very nuanced. So keep that in mind as the story goes on. Now you get my favorite character known to mankind, Zarumahu Rohim. That name has a story behind it. That name has a story behind it. Zarumahu Rohim is a play on another word I used to say all the time, it being Zagambaho. Zagambaho used to be a main like villain character back in my old story days. I cut him out because he didn't really fit anywhere after readjusting and updating the story. And I just like doing this thing where I just kind of give people overly complicated names. And this is the one time I actually make it a meta joke. It's like, he has a very complicated name. He's a demon. He's a very complicated name. But the whole running joke is every single character, minus maybe 7 in the entire story, never actually say his name. They always give him a nickname that are abbreviated in some way, or just are lazy, just call him his first letter. Like that's the joke. That's why his name is complicated, because it's a running gag in my series, and it's funny because Zaru is quite literally probably the most, like, the greatest character in my opinion, through his interactions with others and how he is a lord of violence. But you'll come to notice that just because he's a lord of violence doesn't automatically make you violent, you could say. And then you have Sagi. Sagi is the black sheep of everything. The black sheep of all. But before I actually get into her, I actually forgot to mention Blublunia. You see on her horns, you see a little pendant thing that's around it. That's her special trait and thing to take notice of. And Zaru, you see, he has no he has no eyes. It's just whited out. So that's important to him. Now you have Sagi. Sagi, you will notice instantly that she doesn't have anything physically wrong with her. That's intentional. And her personality is, just because Lucifer's the most powerful person, it doesn't mean I can't give off an aura of presence that I am the most powerful person in the room. Considering that she is Lord of Fraud and right under Lucifer, of course she'll have that type of mentality. Not to mention, she is the person who brought about this meeting. And then you see Kuthala. This meeting that they brought up is all about talking about who is in charge of the blade. Why aren't we using this blade for more important things? This thing freed demons, for Christ's sake. If we can harness this power, why don't we use it? Now, I actually got a comment about this, and I was happy to explain to him like this later down the line. All right, the blade came down. 4 billion years have passed, and you're just now having a meeting about what you're supposed to do with it. That's kind of weird. This is a slight hint to how hell works, and how hell has its own time zones. You could say the reason why lots of demons are like thousands upon thousands of years old, yet the earth itself is like still comparatively young. You can have like a billion-year-old demon, but the earth has only been around for the earth has been around for 4 billion years, and you have a demon that's been around for 27 billion years. So like that's impossible. The demons, how does that what? It's because in hell, you could say one day on earth is 1,000 years on this circle, or 3,000 years, 4,000 years. Time is irrelevant to a demon. Time to a demon is literally breathing in air for us humans. We just do it, and time just flows by. They do their thing, and sometimes their thing that they're doing takes years to do, and they can stand in one place, thousands of years can go by, and nothing would matter to them, because their concept of time and their reason to care about time is ceased. So every single circle in hell, it has no government of time, because time itself, time is a character in my story, does not care to manage the time frame, the timelines and time zones of hell, because that's just how much hell doesn't matter to the higher ups in the dimensional scale. So you're gonna get demons all throughout different circles to have many different age groups, be slightly younger than what they appear to be, slightly older when they're supposed to be, yada yada yada, simply because hell's time just is distorted. So there you go there. So for 4 billion years to go by on Limbo, but in Fraud, like a day went by, 2 days went by, 3 days went by for her, that sort of thing. And in other cases, 3 days went by for her, then suddenly 100 years went by. Stuff like that, it's supposed to be complicated. It's supposed to be complicated because to a demon, time is irrelevant. It's only the matter of getting the information out and understanding, maybe, sort of, maybe, we should probably think about something now. And speaking of thinking about something, we get into the next page. Next page is supposed to showcase, it's funny, once you realize that Kuthala was made through Lucifer jamming his fist inside of his chest, pulling out a piece of his soul, and making Kuthala, implying that he did the exact same thing with all of them, implying that all these different characters are literally the same person. It's all Lucifer. Female, male, doesn't matter. It's all Lucifer. It's all part of his spirit. So he's literally called in a meeting of all of his parts of himself to talk to himself. And I love that. Because the whole thing about Lucifer is that each sin is like a variation in like personality. And that sin is governed, it will express and is basically born to be that sin. Lucifer himself has lust inside of him. He takes that lust out, and now that lust is now given a personality. That soul is a person now. And that's just how that works. So as he's talking to himself here, you see the differences in personalities and how they bounce off of each other with this page in particular, and how they're talking about this blade. It's like, yes, we're talking about the blade. Okay, what exactly are we supposed to do? Well, we weren't able to pull it out. Literally, none of us could do it. None of us could. So how exactly were we supposed to weaponize something that we can't even use? And it's like, well, we can try to find someone who can. It came down here. If it came down here, that means someone wielded it before, right? But what if it just came down here for no discernible reason? Well, that doesn't make any sense. God is the all-knowing being that we know him to be. If he wanted to get rid of the blade, he probably would have done it. So clearly, we need to jump on this now and doing this and that. And saying, if we can weaponize it, and this thing is powerful enough to dispel something that God created, we can probably take this blade and free Lucifer. And if we free Lucifer, haha, Armageddon, baby. All that sort of stuff. So then after that page, we jump straight into the next one, and then they really start to go back and forth how it's supposed to be. When I read Homestuck, I really admired how Hussey would take his time making sure characters are themselves. The story's great, But I think the story wouldn't be half as good if it wasn't for the fact that he is able to make it so that John, Dave, Roxy, all these people can just be themselves. It's like there are multiple moments in the story where they just kind of talk, and even it has nothing to do with anything. They're just talking about nothing. That's why I like, because in our culture, we just talk, and sometimes we get off topic, talk about something completely irrelevant. But it's because of that is what makes us unique. It's like suddenly like that. So when it comes to me making my dialogue, I want to make it so that the dialogue is themselves, and so they're going back and forth. They're trying to counteract another person's statement, saying, "Well, this is that is this. Why can't we do this? But we can't do that because if we do that, then this will happen, and that happens, and what else?" So at the very end of it all, you're seeing how like they actually debate amongst each other when it comes to these meetings. Again, they're all talking to each other, but they're all one person technically. And you get to Pleboonia. Pleboonia, shockingly, is the one to bring the elephant in the room and to cut off a certain conception, and that's weird. And I know this is kind of very small, but I'm just gonna emphasize it myself. It's very small, but they say, what if it came down from the heavens? What if an angel can do it? Because we know some very powerful angels. And what if that did it? Then Bablunia is the one to say, the Lord of Lust herself is the one to say, no, an angel can't do it. I know. And that's it. They just dismiss that. Because in hell, demons and stuff like that, they know angels. And so if Pleboonia just says, well, an angel can't do it, I guess they can't do it. We're not going to ask her why. Because they already should know why. That's just it. They don't care. So they understand each other, and it's something I'm going to bring up probably in the next page about how these characters work and how Lucifer they're all the same person. They all have just different personalities and different genders and stuff like that, but they're all the same person. That's very important for me to express. Kuthala then explains, even though we all talk about this, what do you think, Lucifer? What do you think? You're still the head honcho. We're pieces of you, but you're the most powerful version of us. So what do you say? The next page exclaims that Lucifer is gonna just be the leader. All I'm saying is he's basically saying, okay, the blade is here. It happened. None of us can use it. I don't want to risk losing a good thing here. The blade came down and dispelled the fog. We're able to go to Earth now and just do whatever the hell we want, and it's fucking great. So if let's say we do find someone who can pick it up, what are the odds that that's the reason why the fog never came back? If we pick this thing up, then the fog comes back, then we basically lose a bridge to a place we need to keep going to if we want to win the war against these angels. So if God's not doing anything about it, I kind of want to keep it that way. And if no one can lift the blade, let's keep it that way too. Let's not lose this. And it's like, okay, you heard the man. Everyone get out of here. Now, the thing that I want to bring up in this page. All the pieces of Lucifer share the same mind, body. Let's say they share the same mind and soul, but the body is different. AKA different gender. Some are male, some are female, some are different types of like animal-based creatures, something like that. Yada yada yada. They share the same mind, but they also have their own mind. They can access each other's memories as long as they're not blocking them out. So if one person thinks this, they'll get it too. Prime example, I did this in a short special where Kuthala finds something. And then to message everyone else, he just thinks about it and allows that memory to be accessed to everyone else. So there is kind of like a mutual trust thing going on here. If there is something important for everyone to know, they will allow that memory to then beam into everyone else's brains, because that's how this will work. If you want to know something, learn it from yourself, that sort of thing. And so there'll be multiple moments where this should be brought up or like a plot point for them to recognize. It's like, okay, this happened, so why didn't this person know? Maybe it's because that person didn't want that person to know that. That's a running theme. That's a running thing here. Just because you work with somebody that you yourself are loyal to does not automatically mean you're going to share everything about everything to them. Secrets will be kept because loyalty and honesty don't always go hand in hand. And that's what I'm trying to express, especially now. Why are these people having a meeting if they all have the same memory? So if they all have the same memory, they should all know how to just talk to each other through their memory, but they don't do that because they understand that no one really likes to talk like that. So they have a meeting with each other to just go back and forth with one another to come to a consensus. And that's where they got this. That's what Lucifer got done saying. And now everyone's about to leave. And this is where I introduce how they get to and fro through the circles without just busting a hole through the ground. And I call these things circle hoppers because I couldn't think of a better name, to tell you the honest truth. It's pretty much still a 10-year-old name I gave it. So if y'all have a better name to call portals that the Lord summoned to go to another circle, hey, I'm up for ideas. But yeah, they basically say, yeah, we get you. We didn't even care anyway, probably. All right, they summon their circle hoppers and they go in. It's still showcasing their personalities through and through with Adif, Lilith, Glaron, and so on and so forth. Now, Lucifer here is trying to exclaim that he is the Lord of his circle, and I made you here because it's yours. I looked at this thing, and I said, I'm going to make you, and that means whatever is on this rock in this circle is yours. You don't have to talk about what you're going to do with it with others, especially if it's your property. And that's all it's trying to explain. Page 18. Now it's time for me to introduce a particular running concept of shit's not over until it's over. Shit's not over until it's over. Everyone's gone except for Sagi. Sagi and Kuthala's relationship, demons and complications go hand in hand with me. Sagi constantly shows sexual intentions with Kuthala over and over and over again. And I do that to showcase that just because, one, what would you consider two souls, the same soul inside different bodies to be? Kind of like siblings or the same person. So it's either she's trying to hit on her brother or she's trying to hit on herself. It's a two-way street, and I make it complicated for a reason. Well, not really for a reason, only because, well, it's demons in hell, and Sagi's fucking weird. There is an underlying meaning as to why Sagi likes Kuthala, and she explains it later. I can just explain it now. Sagi is powerful, and she just likes people who are weak, because she likes to be the dominant person in a relationship, so Kuthala is the perfect level of weak for her to be interested in him. And it's because of that weakness that drives her forward toward him. And so she knows she can mess with him. She knows she can play with him. She knows she can push his buttons because he can't do anything about it. That's like her whole deal, and that's what she enjoys, and that's what she's about. She's a fraud demon, but she's all about dominance. So she's trying to also tell Kuthala in her own sexually flirtatious way that we have to find someone to use his blade. Come on, like, wouldn't you use this incredible power to be more powerful? I mean, you'd be fucking retarded to not want a demon of any status to not get more powerful than their enemies. So she's sexually molesting her brother / herself, and we get introduced to hello. Okay, apparently not. Okay, hold on. Apparently, I don't know why, but the page didn't show up. I don't know why the page didn't show up, so let me change that. So, in the meantime, I'll continue to say that Sagi also has another underlying meaning to like Kuthala, but that doesn't get explained until, like, I'd say chapter 3. To make things, like, clear, Sagi is the only lord in the circle to have a different arc than everyone else, because Sagi is meant to be the true odd one out amongst the group. Every other character will have some sort of, like, arc revolving around their character growth, even though they're the villains. It doesn't mean I'm going to turn them good. No. The character growth does not automatically mean redemption arcs. I'm going to say that now. But Sagi I will admit, kind of stays stagnant. And I don't know if I'm going to change that or not, which is why I'm mentioning it. But Sagi is like the only stagnant like villain character that I seem to have so far. And I'm just overemphasizing how different she is amongst the others by starting it off with her still sticking around, messing with Kutala. And then we get another Judas introduction to allow you to understand Judas even more. Judas is coming to the defense of his father, saying, hey, could you stop messing with my dad? My mom really hates it when you do that, first of all. Second, you're very annoying, and I hate you. Please leave. Again, showing that even though he's a kid, not only did he get through talking back to Lucifer with little to no fear at all of what he could or say to might offend him, he's also going up against Sagi, who is more prevalent in showcasing that she's the most powerful person in the room. And as soon as he brings up the mom, and also trying to showcase Sagi doesn't like being punished. Judas mentions that last time he did this, my mom got angry to the point where she blew up something, and we blamed you for it. And then she got punished from Lucifer. So, as soon as got the punishment aspect to it, she leaves, because she knows that. She also brings up that she's a fraud of some, that the mom of Judas and the wife of Uthala is a fraud of some kind. And of course, being a Lord of Fraud, you kind of have to take that with a grain, not a grain of salt. A grain of salt means that you don't necessarily trust it. I guess a pinch of pepper. I don't know what the actual saying is, but yeah, when the Lord of Fraud tells you that someone in your family is a fraud, maybe you should probably think about it. But since it's Sagi, it's very hard to say that you want to believe her anyways, because she's kind of a bitch. So yeah, then we get to page 10. I don't know why page 9 wanted to give me trouble, but now we have the father-son dynamic saying, thanks for helping me there, son. Oh, no problem. Bitch like her need to be put in her place. Again, more type of language that you would get in hell, and this is why I like Has Been Hotel, really showcasing that demons will say whatever the fuck they want because they can. And to tell you the truth, it's not even that much of an insult because I already showcased that Sagi herself is a bitch. So it's not like it's not warranted for him to say something like that. And after which we proceeded to discuss what just happened. Say, okay, how'd you like the meeting? It was stupid, hated it. I don't know why I was even here, and I hated everything about it. Can I please leave? And it's like, okay, and he's about to go. Friends call him out, and then he's about to leave. Now, I could add page 11 and 12, but I think it is better to keep the videos in like 30-minute mark and only doing 10 pages at a time because I don't want to overload anyone with information. Don't make these too terribly long, and it's just fun to talk about it because also my throat. So all in all, when it comes to these 10 pages, you got an introduction to what could be and what is going to be your main antagonist of this series. And I thought about it for a while. Who should I introduce first? The main protagonist or the main antagonist? But since the protag is in it with the antags, as you can see with Judas here, showing how the antagonist personalities coexist with one another is definitely something I wanted to showcase first. So you had a huge dump from every single character and a slight extra bit of information with Sagi sticking around afterwards, showing that having a slight nuance that she might be a little bit different and more prominent than most others. But when it comes to how the story gets driven, I will say that every single Lord will have a chance to continue to showcase their personalities, and also shows some of the cracks in their personalities. I want to make it so that these villains you like, they're not mustache twirling sort of. It's like any other type of good show that you happen to watch. The greatest villains is the ones that you kind of can say you can root for if their intentions were in the best. Like Thanos, for instance, when it comes to Infinity War. Thanos is a villain. He is a villain. That is, bar none. Wiping out half the universe is a dick thing to do, no matter who you are. All right? Mass genocide on a universal scale, simply because of resource management, is fucking retarded. However, this dude believes in his ambitions. He's doing it because he feels like he's saving everyone. And despite having very, very, very violent tendencies, he's doing it for the betterment of others. And I can get behind that. And he's also a really cool character. That sort of thing. When I was making this, I didn't know who the fuck Thanos was. I'm happy I can continue on with the example with how to make good villains. Good villains are good villains are good protagonists of the antagonist side. It's literally it. Make them good characters, give them nuance, give them a reason to do what they're doing. Because when I was growing up and I heard about Lucifer and read about all this sort of stuff when it comes to the Christian faith, Lucifer and the devil, it's like there has to be a reason why he's this much of a douchebag. There has to be a reason why this and this and happen, this happened. When I was told that Lucifer was like God's best friend, like right hand dude, like royal vizier or something along those lines of that status. What about? There was a part of me that wanted to say, all right, the most human thing I can think of in forms of those two being together is that if they truly were close to one another, it must have been really fucking hard for God to then sentence his best friend / trusted colleague to a place where he has to now live as its own personal, the most secluded prisoner, along with its own personal thing of good and evil. It's like that had to be hard, right? He couldn't just say, "Well, you fucked me." I gotta make it so that God isn't just that guy. I need to make it so that every character here has some sort of reason to do whatever the hell they're doing. Because if I just make a character and I just make him a dick, I can't do it. I will tell you though, my past stories, my past iterations of making the story was like that. It was just, like I said before with Kuthala. You see how I'm making it so that they actually are a father and son dynamic? You see how that I'm having them talk to each other like he respects him, the son respects his dad. They go back and forth. They're smiling to each other. They're a good fucking family. And you don't get that very often in many animes nowadays, do you? It's like your dad has to be a douchebag who tried to kill you one day. You had that to be the douchebag that kind of turned you into a giant rampaging beast. Your dad touched you as a kid. Like, something like that always seems to have to happen. Your dad's Dio Brando. Something like that has to happen. Like, and it was like I just needed better family dynamics in like story works, because like, what are the main things that usually bring you up in life when you're growing up? And that's usually your mom and dad or just family members in general, right? So usually family members aren't fucking dickbags. And I wanted to like express that. So same thing goes for like characters in general. I wasn't gonna make Kuthala the generic one-off demon lord fuckhole that doesn't like it when you show signs of weakness because you're a demon. You're supposed to be tough. No, actually, I'm a little bit of a wimp myself, son. I can't defend myself when something more powerful than me is literally trying to rape me right now. So it's like that sort of thing, and we're gonna get to another character that really emphasizes that not all demons in this hellscape are bad, and so on and so forth. And I'll also show how limbo works and how the comment of it, how my comments of it being a circle where people just made mistakes and they just couldn't go anywhere else. And limbo was not meant for a suffering aspect. It's just meant for just, hey, you're here. You don't really actually know you're here. Your soul is just walking forever. That sort of thing. But now these souls are free. They're able to think again. And since they're basically just like-minded people, this place is just Earth, just a hell of a lot bigger. Ha! Get it? And more... less technologically advanced because of the necessities they have here. Now, so on and so forth. I think that's pretty much where we're gonna end this off. I'll continue on this this next week. Again, I really appreciate anyone here actually taking the time to listen to these, because again, I would have done these regardless, because as I said before, I was gonna make all these private because these are generally for me. These are generally notes for me to remember, because sooner or later I'm going to be 30 or 40 or 50 or something like that. And if I'm lucky enough to, by that time, make this into an actual show, even if it's a one-off, only showing like one part of a story, and 1,000 people were able to watch it, I believe I achieved a goal of some kind. And that's all I got to say on that front. And so I need to make sure I have my fucking bearings straight. I need to make sure I have my my fucking head on right, because if I forget a very important, crucial aspect of something in this story, and I may know how the story ends, I may know how the beginning, middle, and ending parts go. Like, That is set in stone. That has been set in stone ever since I was 7. This is how this is going to end. However, getting to how to introduce the beginning, to get into the middle, to then lead up to the end, and then executing the end itself needs to be planned out. And I'm trying to make sure I'm doing that correctly. And I don't know if I said this before, but I'll say it again. My story wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for many of the friends I made during my middle, and high school, even college years. Many people all throughout those different times in my life have given me soft and hard criticism on how to make certain things work better for an audience. So yeah, the only thing they can't talk me down on is murdering characters that they liked. I've been doing that before it was cool, apparently, because it was like, oh, Game of Thrones, oh man, I like that guy, you killed him. I was doing that before, whatever. But I'm not popular, so you don't have to take my word for it. But I wrote can't see it, but I wrote a book about how to kill characters properly in media. And if you're a longtime fan and watched everything I've done, you would know that. So yeah, okay, that's pretty much it. This is UMB Universe. I'll see you next time. Bye.